Or we could do that.
Heat in our office is taking a very long time.
My baby to finance, because trustee Corrigan's gonna be late. I thought we did that last week too.
You know, I don't. It's an awkward situation. I'm sure, so I was happy to help. And Tammy is over here in the right, so you know.
Leave it there, because this one gets thirsty. I
Oh,
just
I love
but he
it.
might not be,
Hi,
but
Tammy.
we're soft.
How are you?
I apologize.
Yes, very excited.
Oh, I'm very excited.
Ms. Butts,
Here.
Ms. Shakarian,
Here.
Ms. Rodriguez,
Here,
and Mr. Parker.
Here.
we have a couple trustees that are still en route, so please, at this time, though, we do have a quorum. So we're gonna go ahead and proceed. Committees. The first order of business is the approval of the regular board meeting of September 19, 2024. and the Joint Finance and Human Resource Committee meeting of 9/17/2024. If there's no additions or omissions, I move for adoption.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
We're going to go out of order a little bit today. There are no communications at this time. The president's report and the director's report will be completed after all the committee reports are in. Okay. We're going to go ahead and proceed with the finance committee report. Trustee Parker will be filling in for Trustee Corrigan until he arrives.
Thank you so much. And for you,
For the
all
overall
of
board.
these resolutions and items were discussed during the Joint Finance and Human Resources meeting. So we'll be going through these for purposes of getting the vote on these. We're at Exhibit 1, which is the resolution to accept gifts for the month of September. Be resolved that the gifts described in the gift report for September 2024 be accepted upon the conditions connected with said gifts in accordance with section 3375.40K of the Ohio Revised Code. So
Before we take a vote,
Thank
can we
you.
have a motion to suspend the regulations as there wasn't a quorum at finance?
yes.
Please, thank you. I was just going to do that. Yes. So there is a motion to suspend the regulations of the Board of Trustees and Article 9 and 10 requiring the referral resolutions to committees to consider the following resolutions.
Second.
Perfect. Thank you so much for Brian.
You're welcome.
Vote.
So
Vote on the
We have
re-
to vote on that motion first.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes. Now we can do the vote on the resolution to accept gifts.
Thank you, Brian.
You're welcome.
We're voting on Exhibit 1.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes. Exhibit 2 is the resolution to approve selection of enterprise resource planning system, authorize agreements for system implementation and maintenance. Resolved, now therefore be resolved that the Board of Library Trustees hereby accepts the recommendation of the evaluation committee and announces the selection and ranking of the 3 finalist firms as set forth in this resolution. And be it therefore resolved that the Board of Trustees authorizes the Executive Director, CEO, or his designee to enter into negotiations for an agreement or agreements for the implementation and maintenance of an enterprise resource planning system with the top-ranked firm as set forth in this resolution, and execute such agreements or other instruments as are necessary to effectuate the terms of this resolution, which agreements and instruments shall be subject to the approval of the Library Director of Legal Affairs, and being therefore resolved that this board instructs the library administration to present the signed agreements and instruments to this board for ratification at the next board meeting following execution of the agreements and instruments. Go right ahead.
We didn't think Carrie ever needed any
Yeah,
help.
Trustee Parker and trustees, we discussed this at length, and we had GFOA give a presentation at Finance Committee. But I did invite Infor to make some comments and to speak on behalf of some of the discussion that was had on Tuesday.
Thank you.
So I would like to introduce both Chris and Taba from Infor.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Chris Sita. I'm an account executive here at Infor. So I've had the pleasure of working through this process with the GFOA team and getting to know the folks at the library for the last 9 months or so. So it's just want to say thank you for having me today.
And I'm Taba Garcia. I'm a client partner with Infor. So Chris and I work together. He handles the software and I handle the implementation project and the personnel and resources. So I was asked to just prepare a few brief remarks. So I'll go through those very quickly and feel free to jump in and ask questions at any point. So first of all, just very excited and honored to be given a chance to meet virtually with you all and to participate in the process. Just a little bit in the way of background about Infor's public sector practice. We've been in this business over 40 years. Infor acquired Lawson and also Hansen, both organizations involved in creating software for enterprise resource planning, financial management, permitting software as well for government entities. So we've been in this business quite a while. And we have a really diverse client roster within the public sector practice. I sit here in DeKalb County in Georgia, and DeKalb County is a client. Neighbors with you all, we've got Cuyahoga County and COTA, Central Ohio Transit Authority. So anything from here in DeKalb County, we've got New Orleans, Chicago, Vancouver, Washington. We represent tribal nations as well. Cherokee Nation, Chickasaw Nation, both have active ERP projects with us. Water utilities in particular, transit agencies, like I mentioned, COTA. So we kind of run the gamut of public sector entities, nonprofits and public sector entities. So we're dedicated to the interests of the public, and we're honored to be trusted to be good stewards of public funds and the public trust in all of the projects that we do. We bring a great project team, many of whom actually sat on the other side of the table and were in public service themselves, working for county and city governments. Your payroll lead worked on a city government prior to joining consulting. And then the technical lead, Jonathan Ford, he worked with a university hospital. So we really have a practice of team members that are expert in the software and also have deep experience in public sector and nonprofit. Several of us sit on boards of nonprofits. I do. I know Bobby Swikas, your project director, also sits on some boards of nonprofits. So we're really passionate about this work. And as was mentioned, we've been through a RFP process. We responded to the RFP. We participated in some demos, and awesome opportunity to kind of do a self-guided tour of the library operations. Totally impressed with meeting the maps librarian, the photography librarian, and then I got a little advice on a rare book that I happen to own. Public libraries are near and dear to my own personal heart. I was a child of immigrants, and we spent all of our summers and school year going to the public library and earning personal pan pizzas at Pizza Hut way back in the day. So I'm super excited about this personally. Our proposal, we've got a pretty efficient, short timeline for the scope of software that we're implementing here for Cleveland Public Library. And we're really pleased to add to our project team Diversified Systems, Inc., which is headquartered outside of Columbus, Ohio, Westerville, and they partnered with us at Central Ohio Transit Authority on that ERP project, performing change management and training, and they've worked with us recently as well at Allegheny County, and they're working with us at Cuyahoga County as well. So it's a proven partnership, and we're really pleased to help the library accomplish its supplier diversity participation goals with including them in our team. And they've been instrumental in the demos that we had with your team. So just wanted to say it's been a really thorough and rigorous process, and we're pleased to be part of it and happy to field any questions, and excited to get going on the project.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No, but I very much appreciate the deeper dive we had on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Tava.
Thank
Chris.
you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Call the roll.
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
We got a video for this too.
Now we will go to the resolution to accept grant from Cobb County Board of Development Disabilities and to ratify agreement for universal changing table. Be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Public Library, pursuant to authority set forth in RC 3375.40K, hereby accepts the grant in the amount of $10,000 to be deposited into the Founders Fund account 203042422300101008 local aid to support the purchase and installation of a universal changing table at the main library campus, and be it further resolved that this library hereby ratifies the universal changing tables agreement entered into by the library on October 3rd, 2024. So moved. I believe we have some conversation about that.
Yes. Good afternoon, trustees, Director Thomas. Recently, the Department of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion applied for a grant opportunity through the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities. This grant opportunity provides financial assistance to purchase a universal changing table. And what this changing table will allow is for us to be more inclusive to our patrons who require additional restroom assistance, which will enhance their experience here at the main library. For those who require additional bathroom assistance, they will be able to perhaps stay a little bit longer, because this universal changing table will allow them to then take care of their needs and not have to either go home or end their experience rather early because they don't have the assistance that they need. Here joining us today, we have Melissa Mock from the Cuyahoga County Board of Developmental Disabilities. Melissa, if you could come up, because we were a recipient of this $10,000 grant, and so Melissa is here to say a few words.
Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Mock. I'm from the Community Development Department at Cuyahoga DD. Our mission at Cuyahoga DD is to support and empower people with developmental disabilities to live, learn, work, and play in the community. And as a community development specialist, my job is to increase access and inclusion in Cuyahoga County, which is where this Universal Changing Table grant was born from. So at this current time, so I think you're going to see a video in just a moment, but Universal Changing Tables are a changing table that is the size of an adult. And this is a resource that is very underprovided in our county. Right now, there are only 9 of them that are available throughout our county. So this becomes a great barrier for people with developmental disabilities who have diapering needs or require colostomy or catheter care. As Ashley mentioned, a lot of times it prevents people from being able to stay in the community, but also prevents them from entering into the community as well. So we really appreciate the opportunity to partner with the library to be able to provide this resource, because it is really reflective of the community that that lives in Cleveland. So really appreciate the opportunity to partner and to make the library a more inclusive and accessible space.
Where do you envision this being? On the first floor?
Yes. So we are making plans for this to be on the first floor of the Lewis Stokes wing.
Near the auditorium?
No, the first floor. So not
First
the lower level, the first floor of the Lewis Stokes wing.
Thank you.
And this is a video. So a lot of times when people hear about a changing table, they immediately think for small children. But what this illustration will depict is how a universal changing table actually looks. It's the capacity to support adults and larger children. This is not to endorse any company or anything like that. It's just to provide you with a visual of its capabilities. So Brian, if you could go ahead.
That's wonderful. And you know what, Ashley, this speaks highly for the type of the clientele and the staff that we have. I asked you on Tuesday, and here we are getting more information and more knowledge into what this is, because I wasn't aware of it. And I do appreciate it, and thank you for coming as well. I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to add.
No, we're
But-
just happy to be recipients of the award, and I'm glad we were able to provide you with additional information. This
Oh,
is
that's
news to the
wonderful.
community. Thank you.
Thank you,
Right.
very helpful.
Follow-up question. I'm curious, will this be in a private stall?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
excellent.
absolutely.
And then what other institutions or places in the greater Cleveland areas have these? I was excited to hear about this Tuesday on the call and appreciated your question because I too was unfamiliar with it, but curious what this means for some patrons in their local library. I think it's great that we have that here, but curious what other institutions in greater Cleveland have this?
I can speak to that. Libraries are a very common place where we are working and collaborating with to install, but we also work with a lot of recreation centers as well. They tend to be really great places to partner with to install universal changing tables. And then we always are doing advocacy throughout the entire community. Places like Rocket Mortgage, Progressive Field, we've already started conversations with them to encourage them to install tables as well. So anywhere, actually in 2024, Ohio Building Code for any new build, for any building with 6 toilets or more requires a universal changing table now in Ohio Building Code for new buildings. So we always try to encourage anyone who is in that situation to consider installing a universal changing table. So it can really go anywhere. I mean, if you think about how many restrooms exist throughout the county and throughout the city, it is possible to put it anywhere as long as the specifications are there.
Can I elaborate on what Trustee Fryer just said? Because I know you mentioned there's only 9 in the county. Do you know where those 9 are? Or I don't know if that was your question.
Yes, I do. There's actually a map on a website called Changing Spaces Ohio that provides all of the universal changing tables all throughout the country. So yes, we know where they all are.
And then my last question, and I'm sorry, because this is so
It's okay.
exciting.
Yeah,
And
it is.
we're glad to be the recipient of the grant. Is there going to be signage that signifies that? And what does it look like? Or if you don't have it now?
Yes, we always encourage signage to be put outside of the restroom. There's a sign, it kind of looks like a person standing for a regular restroom with like a table. It's like a line in front and it says Universal Changing Station.
Got it.
We also encourage, like at the front of the building, there to be signage and to put it on your website and stuff like that as well, in addition to adding it to the map. A lot of times, because this is a barrier that prevents people from going out into the community, people having that information to be able to plan ahead encourages them to come in the first place.
Thank you so much.
And so I've already begun talks with marketing, and Hannah is here to discuss how that signage
Of course you
will be
did.
rolled out.
Thank you, Ashley. And thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's no restroom on the first floor. So you're gonna build a restroom?
Yes,
Oh, okay, where's it gonna be located?
we are working on that now with the contractors, yes.
And the vote, Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes,
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
thank you.
We have Exhibit 4, resolution to accept gift from the estate of H. Leslie Adams. Therefore be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Public Library, pursuant to the authority set forth in RC Section 3375.40K, hereby accepts this generous gift from the estate of Dr. H. Leslie Adams to be restricted for the benefit of the H. Leslie Adams Music Archive and to be deposited to the H. Leslie Adams Fund account number 234-046-46100, restricted gift. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Public Library expresses its heartfelt gratitude for this generous gift and directs that a copy of this resolution be sent to the executive of Dr. Adams' estate as an expression of sympathy and appreciation from this board. So moved.
I think this is a really special gift, and I hope some programming
can happen related to it. This was a really wonderful moment, I think, for the library.
Ms. Butts?
This is so cool, yeah. I wonder, is there a lot of new sheet music in our archives now too? I mean, stuff, all kinds of things we can benefit from. I say yes to this one.
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes. Next, we have the resolution to accept gift from the estate of Barbara Garrison. Therefore, be resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Public Library, pursuant to the authorities set forth in RC Section 3375.40K, hereby accepts this generous gift from the estate of Barbara E. Garrison in the amount of $10,000 to be restricted for the Ohio Library for the Blind and Print Disabled, and to be deposited to the endowment of the Blind Fund account number 202-046-46100, restricted gifts, and be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Public Library expresses its heartfelt gratitude for this generous gift and directs that a copy of this resolution be sent to the family of Ms. Garrison as an expression of sympathy and appreciation from this board. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Lovely, yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes. I will gladly now turn this over to Trustee Corrigan to finish.
Which one are we on?
Healthcare benefits.
Exhibit 8? Yeah. Yes, Exhibit 6. Resolution authorizing contract with Medical Mutual of Ohio for employee healthcare benefits, whereas the library has purchased employee health insurance from Medical Mutual since October 2012, whereas the increase in premium is lower than 14 9/10% increase of last year, and the increase this year will just be skipped over it. In any event, library was keeping the employee percentage costs the same as in prior years, and the library finds this year's increase to be reasonable and within market conditions. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the board hereby authorizes Executive Director CO or his designee to enter into an agreement with Medical Mutual of Ohio for employee health insurance benefits for a 12-month term from January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025, at the rates reflected in the attached proposal, which agreement shall be subject to the review and approval of the Director of Legal Affairs. So moved. The increase is 3 9/10%. So moved.
Second. Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 7 is a resolution to authorize additional pre-construction services for the Walls Branch project. Yay! Whereas in February 2020, the board approved the selection of Gilbane Building Company as construction manager at risk for 6 projects comprising Phase 1A, including to authorize pre-construction services, total fee not to exceed $242,116, which included $47,000 for pre-construction services of the Walls Branch. Whereas Gilbane provided the library with a proposal in the amount of $104,029.52 to perform the remaining pre-construction services, including bidding and preparation of a guaranteed maximum price for the Walls Branch and those portions of the joint development for which the library is responsible. Whereas the increase in Gilbane's proposed fee over the fee approved by the board in 2020 is due to several factors, including a significant increase in the size of the Walls Branch, the loss of efficiencies due to the other Phase 1 projects not being complete, and the complex nature of joint projects. And whereas the administration recommends this board authorize the library to resume pre-construction services with Gilbane and to incur the additional costs described in this resolution, and which additional costs will be to be included in the guaranteed maximum price. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the board authorizes the executive director, CEO, or his designee to negotiate and execute such agreements or instruments as are necessary to effectuate the terms of this resolution and to perform the work described in this resolution for the new Walls Branch by Gilbane Building Company in the amount of $104,029.52 to be charged to Construction Tax Exempt Fund 402 and for the Construction Taxable Fund 403, which agreements or instrument shall be subject to the approval of the Director of Legal Affairs. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer? And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 8 is a resolution authorizing amendment to the option agreement for the Wells Branch project. Whereas in February 2020, the board authorized the library enter into an option agreement with Northwest Neighborhood CDC, which was then known as Detroit Shoreway Community Development Organization, to apply for low-income housing tax credits by February 2020 deadline. Whereas then CDC was not awarded the low-income credits in 2020, the board authorized the library to enter into a second option agreement. The library and NDC entered into a second option agreement as of January 25, 21. Whereas CDC was awarded low-income tax credits in May of 2021, but construction of the project has not yet proceeded, and the increased cost of construction resulted in NCDC needing to seek additional funding. Whereas the NNCDC has informed the library it has now identified sufficient funding resources to move forward with its portion of the project, is now working towards closing various loans and other financing which they expect to occur in the first quarter of 2025. Whereas the library and NNCDC decided to amend the 2021 option agreement as shown in the amendment to this resolution, attachment to this resolution, which among other things updates the closing schedule for the joint library and housing project, provides the library and NNCDC will move forward with separate projects if the deadline for closing on the joint project is missed. Now therefore, the Board of Trustees of the Cleveland Public Library hereby authorizes the Executive Director, CO, as designated, to execute the amendment to the option agreement in substantially the form attached to this resolution. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Bunt?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Exhibit 9 is a resolution authorizing amendment to the agreement for the branch security night alarm services, whereas the library is committed to providing a safe and secure environments for its employees and patrons alike, and engages the services of private security contractors to furnish security guards at its branches and to respond to alarms outside the library's normal operating hours. Whereas in December 2021, the board authorized the library to enter into a contract with Royce Security Services for branch security night alarm services for a total cost over 3 years of $2,385,564.54 for branch security services and $10,800 plus $52 per alarm for night alarm responses. Whereas on June 16, 2022, the board authorized an amendment to the agreement to allow the library to have night alarm response guard remain on site at the library premises beyond their initial hourly response at an hourly rate of $28 per hour. Whereas the library has hired additional safety and protective services and safety aides of our own to fill the branch posts currently filled by contract security guards, and the library administration has determined that based on the current staffing levels, it'll still be necessary to contract with an outside security company for 6 guard positions, 1 supervisor, and 1 account manager to provide security services at the branches in order to continue to ensure protection and safety. Whereas the current agreement with Royce is set to expire December 31, 2024, and Royce has proposed a 1-year extension of the agreement based upon the assumption the library will be contracting 6 security guards at an hourly rate of $20.94, 1 supervisor at an hourly rate of $23, and 1 account manager at an hourly rate of $24.48, resulting in an estimated annual cost of $484,373.76 under the agreement. Now therefore be it resolved, the board authorizes Executive Director, CO, as designee to negotiate and execute an amendment to the agreement with Royce Security Services, LLC, for branch security and night alarm services to a library to extend the term of the agreement effective January 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025 at a total cost for the 12-month period not to exceed $500,000 for branch security guards and $3,600 plus $52 per alarm for night alarm services to be charged to the general fund account 129-30053-53380, which contract shall be subject to the approval of the Director of Legal Affairs. So moved.
Second.
As we discussed at the Finance Committee meeting, we were not able to recruit enough to fill all the positions, and so we need to continue some additional employment of outside resources, and that's what this resolution does.
So did people explain to the board, you're talking, it says $28 per hour at night. Are you talking about providing these on-site guards, 6 guards, 1 supervisor, 1 account manager, you're actually hiring people to stay overnight on site at 6 locations? Explain a lot more, please.
Morning, Director, Trustees. That is for an emergency that arises. An armed guard will respond. In the first hour, costs $52, and if they have to stay longer than the first hour, it's $28 per hour. They're not assigned to a particular location. This is for their response. You pay a $300.
So this is if we get an alarm that there was a break-in?
Yes, we'll have an armed guard respond.
So this is gonna be a huge expense every year, regardless of what happens. It's getting worse, right?
Well, we're hoping that our additional hiring will provide some leverage so we can mitigate some of those incidents.
Maybe people will stop breaking in if they actually encounter resistance. Or
I don't think, that's what, he was saying.
Recurring charge. We've always had this, it's a
Yeah.
recurring charge. We're actually decreasing our services because we have a complement of 68 we're trying to fill. We're 8 short
Yeah,
to doing that in order for us to not have outside contracted services. So we really just need to fill 6. How many is Royce filling now for us under our current contract?
Approximately 12, 13.
So it's decreasing now because we'll be using our own security officers and safety aides.
but our incidences are increasing, right? And it's
Unfortunately,
mostly just vandalism.
yes, it's really a sign of our current socioeconomic conditions. People are breaking in, they're doing more damage than they're getting from the break-in.
It's mostly just to be destructive, it seems, right? I mean, they're not getting anything.
It's probably being driven by, addiction or, that type of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think that the reason that you hear about it, when we look at our numbers, the incidents as a whole have not increased. They actually have gone down. Incidents in the evening have increased. And those are the things that we report to the board because there are break-ins and things of that nature. But in general, incidents.
Because we've got physical repair costs all the time. That's,
Yes, so.
thank you.
Thank you.
And the vote,
Yes, I vote yes.
Ms. Shakarian,
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan.
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Fryer,
Yes.
and Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Exhibit 10, right? Did I skip one? I
Yep.
did. Oh, yeah, right.
We're at 10.
Oh, we're at 10, okay. Resolution to authorize amendment to agreement with Bioloski Partners Architects LLC for architectural design services for the Glenville Branch project. Whereas on November 17, 2022, the board authorized the library into a contract with Bioloski Partners to provide professional architectural services for the renovation and expansion of the library's Glenville branch for a total fee of $582,865. The agreement was executed December 2nd, 2022. Whereas Bioloski has submitted a proposal for additional graphics designs as recommended by the team for the Glenville branch in the amount of $5,000, which would increase Bioloski's overall fee for this project to $587,865. Whereas the board finds Bioloski's additional fee for these additional services to be fair and reasonable, now therefore be resolved, the board authorizes the executive director, CEO, or his designee to execute an amendment to the agreement with Bioloski Partners Architects LLC for the Glenville branch renovation expansion project in the amount of $5,000, thus increasing Bioloski's total compensation under the agreement to a total amount not to exceed $587,865, with the additional $5,000 being paid from the owner's direct cost budget as shown in the Glenville branch project budget approved by this board on December 21, 2023, which is attached to this resolution as Exhibit A, and which amendment shall be subject to the approval of the library's Director of Legal Affairs. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the wall graphic that's gonna come up.
Ms.
Yes.
Shakarian, Mr. Corrigan.
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Ms. Fryer,
Yes.
and Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Exhibit 11 is a resolution to declare urgent necessity and authorize agreement for Fleet Branch HVAC replacement project. Whereas the library's property management department has determined it is necessary to replace the aging HVAC system at Fleet Branch and initially estimated the cost of the project would be approximately $60,000. And whereas on August 29, 2024, the library issued a request for proposals to 26 businesses that were identified through the City of Cleveland Certified Vendor Directory and the Ohio Department of Administrative Services and other cooperative purchasing programs. Proposals were due September 27th. The library received only 2 proposals, Diversified Piping and Mechanical for $91,500 and Applied Initiative Management LLC for $47,890. Whereas the property management reviewed proposals and determined Applied Initiative Management's proposal specifically excluded key aspects of the project and was therefore not acceptable to the library. And Diversified Piping and Mechanical's proposal conversely contained all the necessary aspects of the project. Whereas pursuant to Ohio's Code Section 337541, the library may dispense with statutory competitive bidding requirements and award a contract directly to one or more contractors when the board determines that the situation presents an urgent necessity and/or the security and protection of library property. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Board of Library Trustees declares an urgent necessity in the interest of protection of the library's property at the Fleet Branch and waives competitive bidding requirements in order to move forward with the Fleet Branch HVAC replacement project. And be it further resolved, the Executive Director, CEO, as designated is authorized to enter into an agreement for the replacement of the Fleet Branch HVAC system with Diversified Piping and Mechanical for an amount not to exceed $91,500, which amount shall be charged to the general fund account number 1740055555300 construction improvements, in which agreement shall be subject to the approval of Director of Library Affairs, Legal Affairs. So moved.
Second.
This is, obviously the necessity is to have Fleet operational with heat and everything as the winter closes in on us. And this is an exception that we've made in my 36 years on the board, where we've foregone bidding requirements only because of an emergency. In my recollection, this is only the 4th time this has happened. So I want to commend the property management currently, and it's the current management's predecessors. We've had to do this very infrequently, but it is appropriate for Fleet Branch to be heated this winter, and making this exception seems more than appropriate, as we discussed at Finance Committee. So moved.
Does it not require any closure of the branch? Will Fleet be open all during this?
Yes, the goal is to keep Fleet Branch open. This is a partial replacement of the HVAC system. The building does have perimeter radiant heat and reheat coils, and some of the air handlers are
Understood.
being, so there is some heat in the building.
Thank you.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker? Yes.
Exhibit 12 is the 8th Amendment to the year 2024 appropriation, whereas Ohio Revised Code 570540 provides for the amendment of appropriation measure when necessary. It's now deemed necessary to amend the year 2024 appropriation measure, and whereas the aggregate of all appropriate classifications does not exceed the total amount submitted to the Cuyahoga County Budget Commission, now therefore be it resolved, the sums indicated in the 8th Amendment to the year 2024 appropriation schedule be approved. And Carrie, this just contains those things that we reviewed earlier resolutions, correct?
Yes, we're just going to be appropriating $10,000 in the Founders Fund for the Universal changing table.
And can you explain to me the difference between taxable and non-taxable? We're tax exempt for this, for this 1 million.
The 2 construction funds there are the 2 funds together. When we issued our debt for $62 million, we issued some of our debt tax exempt, and then we issued some taxable. So we put them in 2 separate funds so we can track them.
So I know Cleveland Clinic is tax exempt completely, but we're not completely tax exempt. I mean.
No, those are the tax exempt notes that we issued for our debt.
Oh, that's what you're talking about. It's not it's not that certain.
No, it's our capital improvement fund that's holding the note.
Thank you.
Proceeds.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
The balance of the Finance Committee report is the Fiscal Officer's Report, Report A, the Report on Investments, Report B for the last month, Report on Conference and Travel Expenditures, Report C, Report on all vendor expenditures, Report D, Report on expenditures made from the Owner's Contingency Fund for the Huff West Park Woodland Central Distribution Facility, the Rain Eastman, MLK Junior, Brooklyn, Rockport, and Glenville branches. Report E, and a report on the expenditures made for the owner's contingency fund for the high-density shelving project, Report F, and Report G, the fees paid for legal and consulting services for the period July 1 through September 30th, that last quarter, Report G. And that concludes the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Trustee Corrigan. We're now going to move into the Human Resource Committee report. Trustee Shakarian, please.
I'm pleased to present the regular employment report of new hires, transfers, resignations, retirements, and terminations to this board. So moved.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corbett?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And the balance of the human resources report includes the report on paid sick time, report H, employee demographics, our EEO4 report, report I, and insurance summary report, report J. That concludes my human resources report.
Thank you. Thank you, Trustee Shakarian. We're now going to move into the Community Service Committee report. Trustee Fryer, please.
Yes, I'm pleased to report the monthly activity report, report K. I always appreciate those insights and data, and then we'll turn it over to staff for the building status update, followed by the advocacy task force update, the foundation update, and the DEI update.
On the building status, so I'd like to just say a few words about MLK. The old MLK building, we did have an equipment casualty with the boiler yesterday. So the building was closed early for low temperatures, but that was resolved. There was a difficulty with the control system speaking with the boiler system itself, but we're low temperatures today and very confident that we'll be able to keep the building warm for the next 15 weeks, which is the amount of time that we need to be open until the new MLK building.
Oh my goodness, I got nervous as you began
It's
giving this
exciting
report.
and terrifying at the same time. 15 weeks will be opening, so I hope to see many of you January 25th. Thanks for those who participated in the construction visit earlier this month. The work that's progressing now is finishing the metal panel siding, rain screen system on the outside of the building, while we're continuing to grind and polish the concrete floors. And we're working on the metal fiber panel interior finishes around the building, along with the finished carpentry and millwork. So construction is moving at pace. Construction manager is still on target to have fire marshal occupancy before Thanksgiving. We'll spend the remaining time doing final completion of the construction as well as technology, furniture, and then staff move in right after the CMSD holiday break.
So the building was closed yesterday, but reopened today?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Trustee Fryer, do you mind if I ask a question?
That MLK is inauguration.
In regards to the monthly activity report, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to ask a quick question. Something came up that piqued my interest. Do we look at the difference of what is ordered and picked up at the drive-through as what is on the bookshelf? Do we try to keep a safe number? You don't have to answer the question now, but that was something that caught my interest. It's the same book. If I keep ordering books and it's not on a shelf, so is there a difference? You can answer it next time. Go ahead, John.
Yeah.
Let me do some research and I can talk to the lending team on that and get back to you.
Yeah, I was when I was in Barcelona, I was listening to someone and how people were talking about, and I was looking at our monthly activity report, and I'm sorry I didn't get it in time. And it was talking about how people, when they walk in, there's not much available on the shelves because everything's being reserved for people to pick them up.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That does, yeah, that helps a little bit more. So we can look and see what sort of the ratio of what is out compared to what we have and what we order. So I can get you a more detailed answer.
So, yeah, because it's seeming like people are rushing to order stuff, but there's never something available on the shelf.
Yeah, we do actually have a program that it will not just go into the collection and be be able to be put on reserve. We have copies, we call it like hot titles, that you can come in and we make sure that some of the newest things are available for people who walk in.
Okay, that was just one of my questions I wrote down for. And thinking, I apologize, sorry, Trustee Fryer.
We can do a presentation on that, John. Yeah, no, absolutely. and I think it's an important part for us to discuss exactly what we're doing. So Sandy and probably Jennifer Jumba could speak to how we do with popular titles.
Yeah, we can kind of explain a little bit more. We instituted that program a little bit, and definitely during COVID, we stepped up how many things were available in the branches and
Probably one of those people who order them and don't have them on the shelves and wait for pickup. But good afternoon, everyone. Here to talk about advocacy. I think I shared last week that there is minimal legislation taking place at the General Assembly till post-election. So nothing on the legislation front at this time. As I said, Director Thomas and I are meeting with elected officials at the state level to begin to talk, continue to talk about library impact and library funding. We're getting ready for the state operating budget next year, and so that cultivation will continue. We do have a meeting scheduled with Representative Bride Rose Sweeney after the election, so more to come on that. I can go right into advocacy, into the foundation. We are really gearing up for our event next Friday. We're super excited about it. We're nearly at 300 attendees. We're going to have various authors there. It's a celebration of reading literacy and the work that we've done for the community this year. The money that we raise at this event is really for areas of greatest needs. It gives us the flexibility to support the library as it makes its impact in the community. I think you know that we have prioritized reading and digital literacy in addition to some other things as it aligns with the strategic plan. And so your support, your continued support, and the value that you bring to this work is really exciting. I'm thanking you for purchasing your tickets. We're super excited to put on the event. The team has done exceptional work. Nothing great is done alone. So I'm here representing my team as well on the great work and all the contributions of this organization, public services, finance, marketing, everyone. But again, if anyone works in fundraising, you know the hardest dollars to raise are unrestricted dollars, but they're the best dollars to attain because it gives you the flexibility to do what you need for the community. That's why this event is so important for our work. So I hope that you can make it, and if there's any questions or whatnot, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Where do we come exactly? I mean, it's at Maine here.
Yeah, well, it's actually going to be at LSW. So we kind of switched it up this year, Trustee Butts. We're highlighting LSW. We're highlighting 3 floors, activating each floor. It's going to be a plethora of things for people to see and understand about the work that we do for the community, but it will be at LSW. But we will have special tours of the band exhibit for those folks who come that evening, and that'll be in our main Brett Hall.
Oh, that's at Brett, okay. But yeah, I mean, it's good because most of our events that the public, that those kind of fundraisers, they've been at the other building.
Yeah.
That's good.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon again. So I'm here to report on our DEI initiative. So today I have prepared a brief presentation for you. So if you could look to your right. So in September, actually September 25th, we held a lunch and learn. For those of you who don't know, the month of September was Suicide Prevention Month. So during the month of September, we had a guest speaker, Rashonda Jackson Burks from the Adams Board come present to our staff. So during this lunch and learn, we talked about tools that can be used to support our staff, support our patrons, because all of you know we are a safe space here at the library. And so oftentimes our staff encounter many different challenges while supporting the public and also to support one another. So we did have Rashonda Burks come in and do a lunch and learn on suicide prevention. Next slide, please.
Does that previous slide show those different states in red and blue? What were those?
So the different, actually, Ms. Burks shared some very interesting statistics with us. And with those statistics, actually, she shared some very glaring numbers in terms of how often someone attempts to commit suicide. And so what you'll see there What do these states have in common? She shared the high and alarming rate that people actually commit suicide. I don't have those statistics with me, so I don't want to fib to you.
Were the states in red the ones with the most suicide, or with blue, or what?
Actually, if I
You don't
can
remember?
read it here. It looks like it says students with the highest suicide rates. So in red is the students with the highest suicide rates, and then the blue is the states with the highest suicide rates. So red is students and blue is the states.
Very sad.
So, and we actually have all of these videos on demand. So if you would like to look at any of our lunch and learn sessions, we'll be more than happy to forward those to you as well. Next slide, please. September 30th was Orange Shirt Day. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with Orange Shirt Day. But Orange Shirt Day is a day that is typically celebrated in the United States and in Canada. It's a day in which we reflect on the indigenous community in which their families were put in boarding schools. And they were stripped of their culture, or at least they attempted to strip them from their culture. And in recognition of that, and to highlight those survivors, we wear orange on Monday, September 30th. It's celebrated each year on September 30th. So this year was our first time in an attempt to turn CPL orange. So we invited our staff to wear orange shirts. So that was Orange Shirt Day this year in September. Next slide, please. For October, I think I mentioned to you last board meeting, this is National Disability Employment Awareness Month. So our Curb Cut Collective, ERG, has been putting forth an initiative to remind people to diversify their workforce as it relates to disabilities. This year's slogan or theme, if you will, is access to good jobs for all. So you probably will notice at all of our branches, you will see language and publications related to providing good jobs for all people as we highlight Employment Disability Awareness Month. Next slide, please. It's also LGBTQ plus History Month. So this month we had 2 different speakers for our Lunch and Learn. We had someone from our Plexus community come and speak, and we also had someone from the Western Reserve Historical Society. So from Plexus, we had join us Dr. Jennifer Bosco. Dr. Jennifer Bosco spoke on allyship and activism. And then from the Western Reserve, we had Mary Manning, and she talked about the history here in Ohio about the LGBTQ plus community. Next slide, please. Our sensory kids. How could I forget? So I did bring one at your request.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So last time we spoke, we talked about the Department of DEI providing sensory kits to all of our branches, including Maine. So here I have brought to you today a sensory kit so you all can take a look at what is inside. These sensory kits are designed to provide support to those with sensory needs. I mentioned to you before, we partnered with CMSD, occupational therapists, physical therapists, and speech language pathologists, as well as our very own youth services department, Mrs. Lamb's team. And so inside, I'll just tell you a little briefly, but I'll pass this around. You'll see that we have noise canceling earphones for those with high sensory noise needs. We also have, you'd be surprised, but carpet squares are for those with sensory needs. We also have something as simple as a sign that says stop. And you'll see that on the signage there is something that can support someone who's nonverbal. So you'd be surprised how some of these tools that OTs and PTs and speech language pathologists use in their everyday work assist people, particularly our children, our scholars, our young scholars, support them so that they can get the assistance they need and remain focused and enjoy their experience, particularly here at the library. So what I'll do is I'll pass these around and you can take a look at the content. Trustee Bucks?
And this is all sterilized or sanitized after each use.
After each use, yes. So our staff will receive instructions on how to maintain the kits. They'll receive 3 kits at each branch.
Nice.
So yes, they'll receive instructions on how to maintain the kits. And so again, at the beginning of the year, we will have issued these kits to all our branches, including Maine, so that they will be equipped with tools to support those with sensory needs.
I apologize, you probably mentioned this last time. How will the public be aware that these are available? And sort of where does that live on our website? It sounds like you're doing a lot of work, whether it's with the restrooms or whatnot.
Marketing. No, we have and I say that, but we have a lot of projects with marketing and we actually meet with them monthly, but now it's going to be bi-weekly. So we schedule some time with Brooke. So we actually have ongoing reoccurring meetings with Brooke. And actually members of the marketing team come on to that meeting where we discuss our needs and what we're looking for in terms of getting some of the information out in terms of our initiatives. So this too is on the agenda in terms of how we want to share this information with the community and make sure that they're aware of things like this, including like the universal changing table and our sensory kits.
Where on the website might this live? Like, is there a section?
Well, I can have Tana speak to it because our new website, which
Yes, so we're excited that we are doing the redesign of our website. That is going to go live in early November. We will find places to be able to highlight some of this information. So just as a preview, each one of our locations has a new look and what it's able to highlight about each location. So something like the universal changing table could be used as a highlighted service at Main Library.
But it'll also be posted at the branches too,
Yes.
right? So that the patrons know that, hey, we have this. Thank you. Wow.
You also know that Monday was Indigenous Peoples Day. We had a
Yes.
very nice turnout in time. So I do have a couple of pictures courtesy of the marketing department and our very own Catherine Young. So we can go to the next slide, please. And so we'll just go through these slides really quickly. I thought we had some very nice photos of the event. I think we could all be inspired by President Cindy Cole in terms of the conversation that we had with her. President Cole also took time out to meet with our staff one-on-one and to answer any questions that they may have had, excuse me. And we're very appreciative that she took time out. Yeah. There we go. Thank you so much. So this last slide, I believe this is the last slide. I just want to bring to your attention tomorrow, live on the lawn at Carnegie West. We're expecting good weather. It's supposed to get up to 70 towards late afternoon. So we will have a flamenco guitarist there, and as well as some other entertainment. We will have a food truck there. As we close out, we realized that Hispanic Heritage Month ended on October 15th, but because it's a Friday, we want to celebrate there at Carnegie West. We hope everyone, all of our board members and all of our team here can come out and join us. We plan to have a very good time. So if you have a moment, come out and join us from 4 to 5:30 p.m. And
I will be there.
Thank
Great
you. We
report.
look forward to having you. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Due to us being out of order, we're now going to move into the president's report. Before I begin to report and so much that we have done, a remark was made at the last board meeting, and Trustee Corrigan would like to follow up into what was said.
Right. On September 18th, during discussion of the issues of obtaining better compliance with return of the hotspot internet accessibility devices, I made an insensitive remark about the capacity of such small electronic devices to be weaponized. I immediately apologized for the poor taste of such a comment, and I continue to regret any offense that my remarks might have caused anyone who heard or does hear about them. I apologized immediately at the time, but I wanted to make it real clear by putting something on the record today. Thank you, ma'am.
And thank you, Trustee Corrigan. Trustee Corrigan is a longtime board member, and he's very passionate about what we do here at the library and what we continue to do. So I appreciate you following up on that. So a couple other things, as John Lang mentioned, we were at the MLK branch. We did a tour. We invaded Trustee Parker's a private tour that he thought he was going to have. It did not take place. So we were all there. And wow, it is just coming right along. It's beautiful, and I think it's going to be so appropriate for the community. And I can't wait. We also had the Anfield Book Award. I mean, it's like every year, and it's so beautiful at the Mulch Performing Center. For those of us that were able to make it, I was there, and I just sit there in awe every year. Try to buy all the books to make sure we understand what is going on with not only democracy, but diversity as well, and how things have changed and where we were and where we're striving for. So that was pretty cool. And then one of my favorite awards, which I had to be there, was the Sugarman Award. It's the children's book. I love that. My kids even went when they were younger. It's done every 2 years, and we had it again this year.
So good.
And it had to be moved. Even though it was during the day, we had to move it. It was supposed to be initially in Maine, wasn't it?
And they moved
So it had to be downstairs in the auditorium because that's how many people wanted to
It was
go to
for
it.
them made the sugar ones themselves.
Yeah.
So, and another thing, as I mentioned earlier, I went to the Metro Library, IFLA, which was in Barcelona. And the director was there as well. And there's so much to learn. There's a lot, it was done in Spanish. A lot of the metropolitan libraries are all in Spanish. So hence Maritza's there. But there's so much to learn from other libraries and what they're doing. 2 years cannot take it all in. And I've learned so much. And there's so much that I still, just like I mentioned earlier, you know, some people say something and we look at what we are doing and how we're doing it. And we are a great library, and we want to stay a 5-star library. And we do have to stay on top of what we're doing. And just when I was thinking, wow, we're building this great brand, it's going to be huge, it's going to be beautiful. Then came along Beijing, what was it? Beijing. Their library is the size of a football field.
All of their buildings are amazing.
It's like, oh, okay. But it's so beautiful what we are doing too, and how we try to think about the communities we are serving and focusing our updates or new builds on who the people are that are there for us. So that I want to thank everyone for everything they're doing. And that was really great. It was really great to hear. So thank you.
Yeah.
Director?
Now, so in the director's report, I wanted to first take the time for, I always think anytime there are new faces in the room, it's an opportunity to introduce them to the board. So there's some new faces here who haven't been seen before. Mrs. Parks, you want to introduce some of those managers? Have we introduced Dalby's new role?
So that's what I want to do.
All right, very good.
Good afternoon, Board. As well as Director Thomas. It is my pleasure to introduce some of the public services team that you might not have had the opportunity to meet. So in the very back, we have Tammy Houghton. She is the newest manager at our Garden Valley location.
Tell her to stand.
Crystal Tanzek is our regional director for the East Side locations.
Oh, yes.
Michael Darby, as you know, Robinwood resigned to go on to greater opportunities. And so we have an interim senior director here at the main library, which is Michael Darby.
Yay.
Michael! We have Lexi Kamisik, who is the Rice Branch Manager.
Good to see you.
Hi.
Well, Allison Collins, I still believe she belongs to me, even though she works for Tech Central. But she works for Tech Central. Tech Central for many years was part of public services, so I do want to announce that she's here. But I believe that's all of my public services.
Tyler, you want to introduce JoJo?
Everybody knows Lena.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm proud to introduce Josephine Jojo or Josie Menko. She is our new administrative coordinator supporting both the marketing and strategy office.
Nice, welcome. Welcome, everyone.
And then secondly, Ms. Strickland, you want to talk a little bit about the Golden Gala? I know Trustee Parker has been at some of our other events for seniors, but we decided to do one downtown and call it the Golden Gala.
I love it. I love it. Today for my team, and I am Mrs. Strickland now. Thank you, Director.
So many times.
It's okay, I answer to it. Good afternoon, board. We had a generous grant that I don't know the amount you may tell from AT&T. You all probably know, $1,000, which allowed us to put on a fabulous event for the seniors. To piggyback off of what you said, we do so much for everyone, and we do not want to leave them out. So they came in, we brought buses in, some of them came in on foot. They were greeted by our staff. They got a goodie bag. We had a band, a live jazz band playing on the first floor, all seniors, of course. We escorted them up to the second floor where we laid it out. We had the whole second floor catered, the tables and everything were nice. Okay, so we brought in an author. I brought the book up here, Meredith Moran. She came, she was our keynote speaker. Every senior got a book and they got to get it signed by her. They had breakout sessions, which would include Tai Chi, chair yoga, how to avoid scam, because you know our seniors are targeted out here with scams. So they came and spoke to them about that. We had how to navigate telehealth. We had Max Back's books were there, the Department of Aging. We had our own OLBPD as a vendor table, our own history department and digital library all came. Youth engagement and on the road to reading van, because a lot of our seniors we know take care of the grandkids. We served them a lunch, which was fabulous. It was catered. We had servers come around and serve each table with a family style meal so they didn't have to stand up, at a stand up at a buffet style table. We also, with the grant, were able to purchase 90 iPads.
What?
On this day, we gave out 35. So we secretly put a postcard underneath chairs throughout the floor. And we told them to all check. You should see the strength of the seniors. But
That's awesome.
you guys know I've been here a long time. We did a lot of programming. This one sat with me for a long
I
time.
bet.
They were so excited to get an iPad. They were so excited for everything. We had a DJ, we had a photo booth. They didn't even want to go to the breakout sessions because they were in line because they needed to get their picture taken. But it was a fabulous day. And I will tell you one thing they all said is they cannot wait till next year.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Thank you. I did see the pictures you had on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, I would have, I didn't know, but yes.
No,
Yeah, we
I
had
just
some
saw.
wonderful pictures. They had a great.
Yes, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
They were having a party.
I love it.
So I just want to throw out that we used the Rose Center and the Kappa House and the Latino Hispanic Senior Center, Gunning Park. These are just some of the places that came, and just regular people who saw it on our website and registered and showed up. So it was a great time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sturtmeyer. Oh, Brian? Sure. Brian? You're new. Come up and introduce yourself. You did for a few of the board members, but
I didn't know
everybody else hasn't had a chance.
Correct. Good afternoon, Director and Trustees. How are you? I am Brian Martin. I am the IT project manager. My main role here is to facilitate the project of the ERP solution for Infor, earlier that Carrie was speaking about. I joined about 4 months ago. Very excited, very happy to be here. This ERP solution project will definitely be value for years to come for the library. Great asset, and definitely I report to John Malcolm back there. But happy to be here, happy to be a part of the team. So thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yes.
And one last thing for me, Tiffany, want to talk a little bit about Friends with You and the band? Everybody's got their little cards.
I saw that.
All right, so on
Saturday, October 26th, we have the opening of the band. It is an interactive, immersive, multidisciplinary art project that includes robotics, dance, movement, and choreography. The artists will be in town for this opening event. It's from 12 until 2. We'll have activities taking place in the North Reading Room afterwards. And for anybody who's coming to the gala on Friday night, the artists will be giving behind the scenes sneak peek tours of that project as well before it's officially open to the public. Marissa Tiroli from the Office of Arts and Culture has been working very closely with staff from Tech Central and Youth Services and our IT team to figure out what we can be doing to integrate programming over the next year. Hopefully we'll be doing more of that. We're really focused on making sure that people's experience at the library doesn't end when they enter Brett Hall. We want them to have their curiosity sparked and go look for other resources throughout the library. So hopefully we'll have great updates to share with you as it unfolds. And special thanks to the IT team who has given so much support as we plan something like this. This project has never been done before anywhere. So we've learned a lot, and I'm really excited for the library to be a learning lab for the integration of art and technology. Questions?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And if you can give me 30 more seconds, I don't know if it's possible for Michael Ruffing to talk in less than 30 seconds about who you are, Brett's great-grandson or grandson?
Great-grandson. Would you like me to come on?
Yes, please.
I was sorry I missed this on Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's here. This is cool.
Yes.
Today is Thursday. On Tuesday of this week, we had a visit at 2:00 from Brett Stearns from Santa Barbara, California, who was William Howard Brett's great-grandson. He had never been to Cleveland, although he was born in Dayton. He had an illustrious career at the Museum of Natural History in San Francisco in Colgate Park. He's an expert in turtles, and we have reached, he's going to help us fill out the Brett genealogy, which we have through 1959. And so when we dedicate our Ohio Historical Marker next year, we are going to hopefully have many Bretts come to Cleveland to help, we hope, unveil this plaque that their ancestor, he never got to see the completion of the building or even the ground laying because he was killed by a drunk driver in 1918 while the building was being planned. So the legacy will be celebrated by his descendants.
So cool.
It's great.
Excellent.
Wow.
It was a nice picture of the director right there standing by the bus of, yeah, I thought it was so cool.
It looked very similar. When I walked off the elevator to meet him, I thought I was looking at Mr. Brett.
Oh,
yes.
And I told him that his eyes were this blue, his twinkle, the furrow on his forehead. It was really amazing.
Great-grandson.
Great-grandson.
Great-grandson, yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you. We now have, yes,
That's how
we have,
my mom was killed.
Have the one last.
yes, sir. Thank you, Brian. We now have new business. Trustee Parker is going to review it.
The resolution to approve policy on filming and photography and to amend the policy on patron conduct. The result that the Board of Library Trustees hereby adopts the policy on filming and photography effective November 1st, 2024 in the form attached to this resolution. Be it further resolved that the Board of Library Trustees hereby adopts a revised policy on patron conduct effective November 1st, 2024 in the form attached to this resolution. So moved.
Second. Good afternoon. So this is, while we have procedures in place, this is to put up a new policy in place around filming and photographing. This is for general use, non-commercial use, as well as for commercial use and for media. So just outlining guidelines and expectations around filming and photographing, especially with the rise of a lot of citizen journalists, as well as First Amendment auditors that are coming into a lot of public institutions. As a result, we also made some updates to the patron code of conduct, along with some recommended changes from public services and safety and protective services. So those are also reflected in the patron code of conduct updates.
So our description on the website highlights how a fee may need to be collected, but it's not added into this policy. Would it be appropriate to note to cover library costs, a fee and donations are also accepted? And I think we need to reiterate that and at least be consistent in both places too.
We can certainly put it in procedures. There's the guidance from the policy is to contact the marketing department if they are intending to film for commercial purposes, and then we work with legal to come up with an agreement and a fee structure.
But separate and apart from commercial services, I think it's allowable under the First Amendment for us to charge a fee for some extraordinary expenses if staff have to come, electricity is used. Brian, This is where I'd lean on you for help.
That's our typical practice. If staff need to be used, we've had filming here where HVAC needs to be turned off so it doesn't interfere with the sound recording. And that's taken into account when we come up with our price for the space, as is exclusion of the public from the space.
Right.
They, after all, pay for the spaces. So if somebody needs to use it exclusively, we're able to work with them. We also are able to take into account other factors too. Sometimes we have student groups from CSU who need to make a film, so that's taken into account when considering who's applying to use the space.
So going back to my original question for the policy that we're going to vote on, can we or should we indicate a fee may be charged for, or is that only in procedures?
I think a fee may be charged. I think we could include that. I think the setting of the fee would be included in the procedures.
Yeah,
absolutely. I would, with the motion to take this to a vote, if you so choose, I would include in your motion that language that a fee may be charged be added into the attachment to the resolution when it's adopted.
I'd like to make that motion that a fee may be charged for extraordinary expenses, or we probably don't even want to modify it as that. I'm sorry, I'm thinking out loud now. A fee may be charged, may suffice.
Second.
Perfect.
Ms. Buck?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
And if I could just say, the examination of this is built off of libraries across the country are being run by First Amendment auditors who are coming in and filming patrons doing things and then saying things about them online, which is,
Right.
creating an issue or whatever. And because they didn't have any policies in place on how to deal with that, they were kind of put in very difficult situations. So by changing our policy and adding these on to our policy, I think we have then what is needed should we have a similar situation happen.
And as a point of order, what we voted on was the amendment, so we should vote on the whole policy at this point.
Who's second?
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Corrigan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Thank you so much. Right now, we're going to move into public comment. First of all, we did receive one via email, but the comment, it's already been addressed. It was regarding an apology, and we already addressed that today in the president's comment. And then one of my favorite patrons is here. Hi, Stephen. Please join me. You got 2 minutes. I might give you 2.5, but go ahead, because you're my favorite.
And so I've heard that Tech Central is going to have a new look now. Let's try to keep a balance between the new and the old at Tech Central, because when I go there, I'm not a computer geek when I go down there. I go there because I got things to take care of. So try not to overshine Tech Central because I'm one of those who's not a computer geek, and try to keep a balance between the new and the old there. And I've also talked about, I support single occupant restrooms at the library, so you can control, you can have the controls over yourself. You don't gotta use the accelerator gyre if you don't want to blow your ears out. So we should have single occupant restrooms at the library. And now I'm gonna talk about the issue of cash as payment. We gotta forget, our money bills have historical value. They show our precedents, our history. We don't want to get rid of cash. It's got historical value. And I know the libraries have some problems with break-ins at those branches, and we got to be careful about punishing the whole library just because some branches have cash stealings. Some parts of the library should still have cash payment as long as it's not in the hood where the break-ins are happening. So we should still respect cash even if the library is having problems with cash in some locations. And credit cards and debit cards are not safe either. My debit card expires in December, and I got to get a new card number because I'm having a slight hacking problem. So the credit cards and debit cards have their problems too, and because people they can hack into your card, and so I still think cash is the best payment. Let's hope some parts of the library can still accept cash in some library locations.
Thank you, Stephen.
Okay.
I don't think there's any, no one else is registered for a public comment, so at this time, I move to adjourn to executive session to confer with counsel regarding pending litigation.
Second.
Ms. Butts?
Yes.
Ms. Shakarian?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes.
Ms. Fryer?
Yes.
And Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Michael, you can call the roll for adjournment to help Jasmine.
I'm gonna go ahead and
Call the
adjourn
roll.
the board
Yeah.
to adjourn, because,
Yes, I
trustee
agree
Frank,
to adjourn.
I adjourned the, meeting, it's 1:52.
I agree.
Second?
Second.
Yes, second.
Yes.
Mhm.
Perfect.